John D. Rockefeller, at one time the richest man in America. He monopolized the oil industry with the construction of his Standard Oil Company and became one of the most powerful men in the world. His tactics to achieve such wealth have been disputed for centuries, but it is time to see what really lies in Rockefeller's history. Today we have our two best cops on the job, ready to investigate one of America's worst bosses and business tycoons. Meet Officer D.O. Nuts and Officer Don Utz.
So, Officer Otts, who do we have in the slammer today?
John Davison Rockefeller, brought in on the charges of becoming too rich too fast and monopolizing the oil industry.
Seems like those are the only cases we get these days. Somebody monopolized this, he monopolized that.
There's so much monopolizing going on, somebody should make a game out of this.
Two, go to jail! Now that's $1 million idea.
So how are we going to play this? Good cop, bad cop?
Of course, I call bad cop.
Fine. So, Mr. Rockefeller, it says in your extremely large file that you grew up in the lower class and you had to work to supply for your family. Good for you. You must have had to work very hard to achieve such success.
Yeah, my imbecile of a father was never around, so someone had to pick up the slack. Did you guys read anything about him?
We will ask the questions around here.
Excuse Officer Nuts, he's having a rough day. Did you know that tax evasion is illegal?
He asked you a question. Did you hear that?
Really? I had no idea, officer.
Well, it is. Do you remember the last time you paid your taxes?
Nope, must have forgot.
Well, our records say that you have forgotten a little too much these days.
We hear that you used your extensive amount of money to bribe college professors into teaching ideas that benefited your empire. That is very wrong. It will not be tolerated.
That is not true. But I will say that the things they did teach were true.
Ah! You just contradicted yourself. Did you or did you not bribe college professors?
Fine, I did.
The nerve of some people these days. All this lying is making me hungry.
Now, we also found interesting that you have your own newspaper company. What do you use that for?
Normal stuff. You know, politics, sports, current events, funnies.
So you're telling me that you don't use your personal newspaper to falsely portray yourself as a better person than you actually are?
What kind of person do you think I am?
What kind of person does he think we... You're a criminal. Calm down, officer. He has a right of free press.
Well, I never published anything about myself. Only like once or twice. But I wasn't trying to make myself look good. I mean, like, maybe once. That's it.
I knew it. I knew it. That is real fake news.
Finally, we've heard that you do not treat your workers very well. What do you have to say about that?
Are you talking about Johnson? Because I swear that was an accident. He just stuck his hand too far up the machine.
No, that's not what we were talking about, but remind me to look in on that later. No, we were talking about the common knowledge that you overwork and underpay your employees, including young women and children.
Every man, woman, and child were paid exactly what they were worth. Not a penny more, not a penny less.
But what about conditions in your factories? Were they safe? Were your workers treated with respect?
I believe so.
Well, you see, we have some evidence that proves otherwise. We found a video of you having to be protected by bodyguards because your workers were trying to riot and protest against you. Let's roll that tape.
Better wages, more respect! Better wages, more respect! Better wages, more...
Don't worry, Rockefeller! I'll save you! What do you have to say for yourself?
I stand by my statement. I did not treat my employees worse than any other employer.
Well, let's hear what your workers think.
So, Mr. O'Connell, how long have you worked for, Mr. Rockefeller?
8 years now. Longest 8 years of my life.
And in your opinion, did he treat you with equality and respect during that time period?
Not at all. The conditions in the factories are dirty and unsafe. Most of us workers work for 12 or more hours, 6 or 7 days a week. Rockefeller seems to be raking in all the money, and none of the workers are getting any of it. And there's nothing we can do about it, because if we riot, or strike, then he'll just simply fire us all.
You know, that is just what I expected from this low-life, dirty, good-for-nothing scoundrel of Mr. Rockefeller. Mr. Vanderbilt, nice to meet you. You are our last witness before we close this investigation. You were at one point the richest man in America, and now that spot has fallen. What do you have to say about John D. Rockefeller?
He was an up-and-coming oil man, and out of the simple goodness of my heart, I gave him the opportunity of a lifetime. I offered to ship his oil on my trains, but that son of a beep screwed me over.
How so?
Well, I closed down Albany Bridge, so he would have to use my train systems to get oil to New York and the surrounding area. But instead of doing exactly what I wanted, he found his own way. The nerve.
And what way was that?
He went underground, built pipelines and tunnel systems to send the oil through the ground instead of my trains.
Well, that's just insanity now, isn't it? Sit down, punk. After hearing many different testimonies and hearing many different witnesses, we have come to a verdict. Oh, you better believe it. That's right. We've decided that you, John D. Rockefeller, are guilty.
No, please, I'm a good person. Please, please, please. I have lots of money. Here, you want some money? Hey, you can pay for your daughter's education with this. Buy a Ferrari.
Now you're robbing a police officer. That's even more illegal. You rich folks just don't know when to stop, do you? That's it. You're going straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. No get out of jail free card for you.
No, I can't go to jail. Who's gonna publish good things in the newspaper? Or suppress labor unions? Guys.
Thank you, John D. Rockefeller. You have just summed up our case by testifying against yourself once and for all. You cowardly man.
In conclusion, you now all should understand that by our modern-day standards, Rockefeller came to power illegally through monopolizing the oil industry, tax evasion, his unethical work conditions, and bribery. Thus, he is guilty.
Psych, you thought!
Back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, these actions were not considered illegal. Well, except for tax evasion, but no one gets in trouble for that.
Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Heck of a show. Giving props to all the ladies. Still wishing I was in it, but it worked out well enough, so good for them. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Heck of a show if you ask me. Restart. I need to get.
You better strut. You better go full out. Okay?
One.
No. One class, and you had to work to supply for your family. Good for you. You must have had to work very hard to achieve such extremely large file. That you grew up in the lower class, and you had to work to supply for your family. Do this. Wow.
If I wasn't trying to make myself look good.
I knew it. I knew it. That is real fake news. We just totally missed the part that she needed to say for. Anyways. Guys, I don't know what I knew it. I knew it. That is real fake news. No, we were talking about the common knowledge that you overwork and underplay your employees, including women and children.
Every man.
Other now on her forehead. Don't stop coming. Don't stop coming. What do you have to say for yourself? That is exactly what I would expect from Mr. Rockefeller. That low.
down, Puck.
After hearing. Sit down, punk. After hearing many different testimonies, we have decided you, John D. Rockefeller, are guilty. That's not even what the line is. I didn't even know what it
All right, folks, that's all for this show. See you next year in Apush.